Hello, everybody. How you doing out there in social media land? Yes, it is Charlene coming with another part of my podcast, and that is medical talk in layman's terms with Nurse Charlene. And tonight's subject, I'm trying to get a little classy here and stuff, is healthcare and Christianity, a holistic approach, meaning how healthcare or medical stuff overlaps with Jesus stuff or Christianity, and how it helps us to have better outcomes with our care. So y'all come on in, come on in. I welcome everybody on, and definitely just looking forward to talking to you for a little while and everything. So that's basically it. So I'm going to go ahead on to my podcast disclaimer, and then I'll start talking to you a little bit about what's going on. All right, welcome on in, Miss Sandra and T. Thank you, ladies, for coming on. She says, "Good evening, Nurse Charlene and Rosie from T. My mother's in the back watching. She'll be getting on in a second and everything. So welcome on in. I thank you. I'm glad that I don't have to be lonely tonight and stuff. So this evening and everything. So before I get started and everything, because I'm so excited and stuff, y'all see my board back there, and stuff. I got me a little cross. And then I got, this is called Mind, Body, and Spirit. Yeah, Mind, Body, and Spirit right here. And it's a little head, and it got his little eyes closed. Like I be looking like I have my eyes closed all the time and stuff. Just thinking, and stuff. And knowing that those things got to simultaneously work together to keep us sane. And everything. And then also, before I start my podcast disclaimer, on this side is a lot of stuff. I'll read it off to you and everything as we go along and everything. And then I got, Heal the World, and it also has your mind, your body, your soul, and stuff. And that's the globe, or us, what we call our spiritual self and everything. So yes, welcome on in, you guys, and everything. I'm going to read my podcast disclaimer. Okay. The podcast is for informational and educational purposes only. It is not intended to replace professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always consult with your physician for any medical concerns. If you have questions about a medical condition, reach out to a qualified healthcare professional, your doctor. Never disregard professional medical advice or delay seeking it because of something you heard on a podcast. That's very important. Guest views are their own and may not reflect the views of the host or this podcast. The information shared is for general knowledge. It should not be used for any legal or medical purposes. Always consult with a licensed professional who knows your medical history for a meaningful evaluation. And guys, stay informed, but always seek professional advice when it comes to your health. Go to the professionals. They went to all that doctor school, nursing school, something or another and everything, because how can they give you good advice, or how can they give you tried and, information if they haven't even educated themselves on what they need to do and everything? So this is very important, because this is where I say that, I don't know if anybody's ever dealt with this and stuff before, but I have, where we at church or something like that, and they like, bring your prayers up to the altar or something like that and stuff. And they like, Sister so-and-so is going into surgery, or had heart surgery, or had, this surgery, knee surgery and stuff, and they need your prayers. We need the prayer warriors to get together, and blah, 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 and stuff like that. And so, okay, that sounds fine. And that sounds normal. But what happens when medical is like, oh, we don't need that Jesus stuff, or Jesus people, Christians are like, we don't need all that medical stuff. My God, I got a God that is the scalpel. I got a God that is this. Well, where they gonna do it at? That God is probably also the one that opened up the eyes of the surgeon that's gonna do your surgery. So you see where it could possibly, intertwine and everything. Welcome on in, Auntie Josie. She said, good evening, everyone. Hope all is well. All is well, Auntie Josie. And I thank you for that. And I hope all is well with you. Yes. So tonight's subject that I'm working into tonight, right before Christmas, and 2 days before Christmas and everything, but I'm getting it in and everything. And the whole point is healthcare and Christianity, a holistic approach in the present day, and how they kind of combine. So tonight is going to be a lot of teaching, but I'm going to try to keep it fun and keep it realistic and stuff. So I'm going to talk about some really good factors, and why you see why this goes with this and this goes with this, and nothing from nothing leaves nothing, and stuff. It don't leave you healed. If you do nothing on this side or nothing on this side, you got to draw from both of them and make it one nice ball of healing, and stuff, if that makes sense. Okay. So healthcare and Christianity are often viewed as separate worlds. See what I was saying? One focused on science and medicine, the other faith and spirituality. Okay. In reality, they overlap more than many people realize. In today's world, where chronic illness, mental health crisis, burnout, and social stressors are common, both healthcare and Christianity are needed together to care for the whole person, body, mind, and spirit. Okay, y'all see where I'm going with this, right? Kind of. So I want to explain that the overlap in plain everyday language, it highlights the most dangerous illnesses today, and showing how medical care and faith-based support can work side by side, not in competition, not against each other, or Jesus is better than you, or you better, or the science is better than Jesus, or nothing like that. It's all one thing, and stuff. It's not two different things. They are all together. And when you try to pull them apart like that, you're going to find yourself lacking somewhere, because you can't have this without that. You need both of them and everything. So going into my layman's terms, which means keeping it simple, so somebody that doesn't know anything about this medical stuff, or even Christianity at this time, will get a definition that they might be able to take home and just really understand it and everything. So that's the whole point. Dropping nuggets, because this is what we need to do. So healthcare, defined as healthcare is the prevention, diagnosis, treatment, and management of illness and injury using medical knowledge, science, and trained professionals like your doctors, your nurses, your therapists, etc. and stuff. So all the people, that's the radiology tech, the ultrasound person, the EKG girl, and whoever that may be and stuff, and so on and so forth. All of us. And we all got a stair step and everything. The focus is the body and the mind, so physical and mental. The focus is the body and the mind, or physical and mental. Physical is your actual body, your pain, your overweightness and everything and stuff. Mental is how you think. Are you coping? Are you not coping? Are you in your right mind? Are you not in your mind? You're out of this world, and stuff because of something, and everything. So that's what they're trying to treat, and stuff, because everybody is not going to come with everything together, perfectly meshed out and everything and stuff. It's going to be some type of problem and everything. So that's where we're going with this. So that was healthcare. And then it's Christianity. What did that mean? Oh, churchy stuff. It means you got to go to church, huh? And I'm just being sarcastic because I got to keep it lively for you. But I'm saying this to say that Christianity is a faith centered on the life and teachings of Jesus Christ, emphasizing love, compassion, service, forgiveness, hope, and care for others. The focus is the spirit, meaning purpose, morals, and community, meaning serving the community. That's where you got the soup kitchens or something like that, feeding the poor. I could go to the Salvation Army. That's community. Going to the Salvation Army and picking up a box of food, when you're low or you don't have enough or you don't have any, and stuff, and being able to get that food and stuff. It hits different when you hungry and you're able to get some free food. Every single item in there is important, and stuff. So I'm saying this, like, it's not just about somebody that has access to everything and everything. This is about feeding the poor, offering something free of charge, and stuff, no charge and stuff, no obligations, but also, maybe stay and pray a while, and stuff, to help that mental part of you, and stuff. We hit the hunger, we hit the mental, and everything. So that's where that comes in. So holistic, I said a holistic approach over my head and everything is holistic care. Holistic care means treating the whole person, mind, body, and spirit, mind, body, and soul, whatever you want to call it, and everything. But that's what it's meaning. So holistic care means treating the whole person, and one is physical health, the state of your body's overall well-being. Are you in good health? Are you in poor health? Are you struggling between good and poor, and stuff? A lot of people, I found myself in the same thing, and stuff, for different reasons, and everything. So that's one. That's physical health. Mental and emotional health is how we think and feel. Are we depressed? Feeling is depressed, is having schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, depression and different things like that, dissociative diseases and all of that and stuff. And so that's how we feel and how we think, and our thinking is based on how are we feeling. If we're feeling joy, then we probably look better, we talk better, we walk better and everything and stuff. If you're depressed, I guess y'all gonna be okay, and I guess people will be okay. I don't know. I'm depressed. You see what I'm saying? Or, hey, how you doing and stuff? God is good. Or maybe you're not there yet to say God is good or something like that. How you doing? Well, happy holidays, season's greeting. Maybe they don't believe in Christmas. So you can't walk around telling everybody Merry Christmas. And they like, yeah, my dog died on Christmas. Or you know what I'm saying? It's like, you just gotta watch out and just be mindful. Everybody ain't walking in your shoes. Everybody ain't happy and perky about these holidays coming up. It hit different for different people. It's hit different for me for each year, and stuff. Sometimes I overdid it, spent years overdoing it and everything. And I had to pay in the wallet big time. And then I was a little irritated and stuff afterwards and stuff. So Was I really doing it for the right reasons, or I'm doing it because they expect me? She a nurse, she get paid. That girl gets some money and stuff, so she should be able to buy everybody boats, everybody cars, everybody. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, yeah. Okay. So I'm just saying, how mental, holistic, that mental and emotional and everything. Then it's also spiritual well being, finding meaning, purpose, and connection in life, guided by your core values and beliefs. I believe in a God of my understanding. No pressure, and stuff. I'm not here to judge. I'm saying, I'm just putting it out there for anybody, however you look at it and everything and stuff. And so there's also that was spiritual well-being, but also there's social support, the perception that one has assistance available to them, like a social worker, a case manager, or something to that degree, a therapist or something. And then also the actual received assistance. That means you feeling like, you got a team, to help you out and everything. I got a team. So I'm just saying it is true. And then, or the degree to which a person is integrated into a social network, like, crafters or something like that. I find joy in creating things, making earrings or making, jewelry and stuff like that. But just having that peer group of that peer group, if there's an illness in the family and stuff, having that support group, and stuff, just paying attention to everything as a whole and stuff, that would be holistic care. So again, just to recap, holistic care is is taking care of your physical health, your mental and emotional health, your spiritual well-being, and where's your center of gravity when it comes to God or the God of your understanding, and social support, being able to have these support groups for this or support groups for that, or a crafting place, or you're a bowler and you got a bowling team, and they call and they invite you to their Christmas dinners and different things, work, and stuff, and there's a place where you can relax at work and express yourself, and everything. But that's being holistic. That's mind, body, and spirit. So that's the whole thing. Exercise program and other people, and stuff like that. That's where all of that comes in at. So you see where I'm going with this and everything. So because I said healthcare and Christianity, a holistic approach. I'm not beating you over the head with the Bible, but I'm not beating you over the head with science, and stuff. I'm letting you know that they really don't do good if they're not all together, combining each one of them, overlapping each other, because they all have good points. And if you get in enough trouble, you'll find out that you need both the doctor and Dr. Jesus and everything. So, okay, that's my spill on it. Okay. So, healthcare and Christianity, how they overlap, because they have shared core values. They both emphasize compassion and mercy. Compassion meaning that deep concern for others, and mercy, feelings of forgiveness. We say, Lord, have mercy on me because I done messed up, and everything. So that feeling of forgiveness, and everything, that actually helps heal other people when they know they wronged you, and then you forgive them and everything. You've seen it on TV and stuff like that. It really means something. That's what I'm saying. It overlaps Christianity and healthcare. Also, caring for the sick and vulnerable. You see how the churches, they give out the free food, and stuff like that. They pray for, sometimes they go out and they do what they call outreach and stuff, and they go out into the communities and stuff, and they pray for people walking, and stuff. Nobody is overlooked, and everything and stuff. So they have that, but also in the hospital environment and stuff, the caring and stuff, that's your team. Me introducing myself. Hi, I'm Charlene. I'll be your nurse today. I'm writing my name on the board. If you need me, you can call this number 6762 and that'll ring right to me. And then I'll be able to come right in there and stuff. Do you guys need anything? I see you got your wife here. I see you got your husband here and everything and stuff. Do you need anything? And so on before I go on to the next one, and stuff like that. That caring and stuff. They're like, oh, you a good nurse, or something like that and stuff. Or I'm Charlene. I'll be your nurse. I'll be back in a little while and stuff. I need to get my break. I haven't went to the bathroom yet and stuff. Y'all can wait. Which nurse you want? Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. So then that's the caring for the sick and vulnerable, services to others. That's helping without wanting to receive anything. Oh, them church people, they was walking up and down the street. They gave me a free Bible and they gave me a blanket, and stuff like that. And I really needed one and stuff. All my blankets stink, and whatever. I'm just saying. I'm just coming up with stuff off the top of my head. And then there's hope and healing. And that is motivating positive behavior, and stuff like, yes, I need you to do that. Oh, okay. So look at you walking and stuff. Now you look good. Your lungs are opening up. You're starting to feel like your normal self again. See, I told you, and everything. And also improving their health. See, now you up walking and stuff. I'm glad I was able to motivate you and stuff. I told you I'll walk around with you too in the hallways and everything and stuff. Now you up, you moving around, your lungs are open, you can breathe, take you a deep breath in and stuff. See, look, you almost ready to get out. We're going to have to kick you out of the hospital. You're going to have to go home and stuff. I know you're ready to go home anyway and stuff. So now it's going to be time. You're doing good, and stuff like that. And just genuine respect for human life. That's Christianity way and also the healthcare way. We respect the life because you are in the healthcare system, you are the customer, you are the client, and everything. If the hospital didn't have patients, there would be no hospital, and everything. If the church didn't have people coming in and worshiping, there would be no need for a church or to talk about God and what God does for all of us, and everything. So all of that involved, and everything. So then it says historically, many of the world's first hospitals were started by the religious communities. That's where I had my daughter-in-law look that up for me. She looked up layman's terms, and it was last used in the 1940s to explain people with basic knowledge, and stuff. They don't have a lot, under them, and everything, but they want to know things, but they just need it explained in terms that they can understand. So that's where that word layman comes from. But it was also used in the Bible as a part of like there was the priest and the altar people and all the different different higher ups, like the church, the deacons and all of that stuff. That's the auxiliary staff. And then it was the layman's. That's the ones that's being taught that Jesus did this, that Jesus walked on water, that Jesus, whatever, and stuff. Or it doesn't have to be Jesus now. I'm saying the God of your understanding. But, when we're talking about it and everything, it's the actual priest or the staff or whatever it might be and stuff. And then it's the person, the Christian people that come in, or the people that want to come in and learn of the stories of whatever the Bible is, or the God of your understanding, if that makes sense, without making it sound like I'm trying to just hit you over the head with Jesus, which some people might need to be hit over the head with Jesus, but I'm just saying, I'm trying to explain it in a way that lets you know that medical stuff and uh and church stuff, they overlap. They absolutely overlap. It's just no way around it. It's no way. Welcome on in, Mr. Buckner. My dad is watching and stuff. Come on and say something to me. I'm just messing with you and stuff. So also, mental health support. Medicines treat depression, anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder, addiction, drug addiction, and abuse, substance abuse, and everything. Christianity offers hope, meaning, prayer, forgiveness, community, and moral grounding, meaning to center you down, so that you could sit down and learn the ways of the God of your understanding, if that makes sense. And so in a situation where it's end of life or chronic illnesses, these are illnesses that just won't get better and they've been ongoing for a long time. That's your lupuses, and stuff, and that's your sickle cells and different things like that. They just been ongoing problem after problem after problem after problem and everything. And healthcare manages pain, comfort, and medical needs. Faith helps patients cope with fear, grief, their purpose in life, and peace, to obtain peace. Because sometimes if you have peace, then you're braver and stuff. Welcome on in, Mr. Buckner. He said, good evening, everyone. Dad saying hello. Yes, thank you, Dad. And stuff. So then there's lifestyle and prevention. Christian teachings often support avoiding substance abuse, avoiding, being an alcoholic and stuff. If you can, it's just saying we encourage this kind of behavior, that you avoid alcohol or drugs and stuff like that. They're not a good end to a means, and stuff. But also Christianity supports healthy relationships, rest after so many days of labor, working so hard and stuff, that you should get a day of rest, a day or two, and stuff, but a day of rest. And also it says it supports self-control, being able to control yourself to effectively, meaning properly cope with life and what it throws at you, instead of being ready to ineffectively cope, which means I got to drink, I'm having a problem, I got so many problems and stuff, and this coming at me, this coming at me, this coming at me and stuff, I hate everybody, and stuff like that. Yeah, they want you to properly control that and everything. Just because you think it, you don't have to say it necessarily out loud, where people can hear you, and stuff. And so also it supports service and gratitude. That means being humble enough to be thankful to the God of your understanding for what you do have. And that service, being able to get out there and witness with the rest of them, when they get out in the streets and the highways and byways, and support people and stuff like that, and whatever that looks like. These align closely with medical prevention strategies. So that's definitely something. This is why they overlap, because I'm talking about the overlapping. I'm not saying everything is Christianity, just that. I'm saying that they work together in unison, together, to get the greatest outcome. When you pull one away and you keep one and stuff, it's almost as if, so believe me and not them, or believe them and not me, and stuff like that. It just doesn't work. It doesn't work and everything. So then why are both needed together holistically? Medicine alone can and stuff. Okay. Medicine alone can treat disease, reduce the symptoms, the snitching. Because remember, I've told you my LLC is your body's a snitch, believe it. So what I'm saying is reducing symptoms. A symptom is a snitch is a symptom and everything. That's your fever, that's your pain, that's your blurry eyes, that's your ringing in the ears, that's your just symptoms. And symptoms is everything. A fever, a cough, a headache. These are all symptoms, or it's your body snitching on you because of something else behind that. And that's medicine alone can treat these things. But then also it treats disease, it reduces symptoms, and extends your life. Medicine alone. Faith alone can give you hope, provide a meaning to your life, build resilience, toughness, grit, and it can strengthen community. It can strengthen the community that they know that they can go to the church down the street when they're hungry and be fed, or provided with a box of food, and stuff to take care of them and stuff. That's very important. What if they didn't have nothing? Then they got to go steal it the best way they can, or something. They got to do something and everything. But if you're being provided this, then you can stay on the straight and narrow, and you also get, that gratitude, that thankfulness, humbleness. I'm humbled by what they gave me when I was down and out. And now you're donating back to that same place that fed you when you didn't have, and everything. So it makes sense. So together, the reason why they're needed holistically is together, medicine and Christianity or faith, together they improve coping with illnesses, because you got something else, the God of your understanding, to help you deal with this that has come up against you, because you sometimes will need it to heal and everything. It reduces stress and that loneliness. Nobody understands me. I feel so alone. Nobody care about me, and things like that. And then it increases treatment adherence, meaning stay on your meds and take them every day at 7 o'clock. If that's what you got to do and stuff, move everything you got to do at 7 o'clock so that you could get your meds, in at that time. And that way, there's no excuse for you not healing from this, because you took that antibiotic exactly the way it was explained to you at this particular time. You drew a line in the sand. This is what you're going to do. And you stick to it, adhere to it. And then their last, together, they improve overall quality of life. That means you're not lonely. You're not in this by yourself, and everything. You have the church members, the prayer warriors, and stuff. And even if you don't want to have those, and everything, you have the God of your understanding, and then you have the doctor of your understanding. And together, they both can work together in unison to create what you need to have happen. And the doctors, you'll be surprised how many be thankful. Ooh, thankful. Yeah, she's going to stick to what I told her to do, or told him to do, because they actually pray to God, and everything. So that helps them out and everything. So science treats the disease, or the medical part treats the disease itself, and faith helps to heal the person, helps them to stick to the regimen that they need to take these medicines every day at this time, no matter what the side effects are, so that they get better and that they heal from them and everything. So that's how that goes. And then I'm going to give you some examples of the top most dangerous illnesses today that are so common. Everybody has them. Everybody knows somebody that has them, even if you didn't get it and stuff. Lucky you. Something else might be coming for you, and stuff. Because it ain't lucky me and stuff. Just because I'm a nurse, I didn't had a bunch of different illnesses and everything. The whole point is, even through all these illnesses, I knew how to lean on my faith, but also lean on my doctor. And I know that my faith, the God of my understanding, could close the eyes of the doctor of what I thought was my understanding, and everything. So if he keeping me alive, God of my understanding, he keeping that doctor alive too, until something else comes along and everything. So it's a real delicate balance, but it also makes sense. So illness, just to show you the example of them working together holistically, mind, body, and spirit, physical, mental, and feelings, and everything and stuff, is heart disease, like congestive heart failure, coronary artery disease, and everything. I'm just throwing out heart disease type things. High blood pressure is a heart disease and everything and stuff. So heart disease is described as conditions affecting the heart, blood vessels, including heart attacks and heart failure. Okay, that means your heart is failing to do the job of beating properly and everything. So it's kind of giving up, and it'll show. It'll snitch. Other things happen. You're short of breath, you're fatigued, and all of this stuff. So let me, before I get ahead of myself. So that was heart disease. And so causes and risk for this heart disease is high blood pressure. I told you that, right? And stuff. Then high cholesterol. That's why they want you to eat them Cheerios. They said Cheerios is found to lower your cholesterol, and stuff. So eating them Cheerios and stuff. Smoking. Yeah, I know smoking might cure some things you think, like your mental health or something. I just got to smoke me a little cigarette and take me a smoke break before I come back to this stress. But after 20 years of it, what you think it did to your lungs over that time? I'm just saying, no judgment. I'm just saying, do you think it might have did something? That's like overeating. When I get nervous and stuff, I got to eat and stuff. When I'm stressed out, I got to eat, and stuff. And then you're 500 pounds. You're not a giant like David and Goliath, Goliath being a giant and stuff, where you could be 500 pounds and stuff. You're just a regular little old you with 500 pounds on you. I know y'all watch 600-Pound Life on TLC, and everything and stuff. That's, where that come from. They had a trauma. And so I always look at that part. So I look at the other part to keep me motivated to watch myself, check myself, but also I watch what happened to them, because the doctor, he's like, I gotta eat, and some of that food be looking good. They know how to make up the best recipe. But anyway, as I digress, and so I'm saying this to say that most of them have a trauma that didn't happen in their life that caused them to balloon up to this, because they didn't get that overnight. They got that over the years of living and stuff. It might have went faster than a lot of people and stuff, but it was over the years of not dealing properly with their stress and stuff. So that's why this happened to them, and it's very special. But going back to causes of heart disease: high blood pressure, high cholesterol, smoking, diabetes, type 2 to be exact, and everything, but other diabetes, but type 2. And because there's a gestational one for pregnant women and stuff. And that's, it's not good to eat a pint of ice cream and a whole cake, because you're pregnant and stuff. Yeah, that's not healthy, and stuff. But I'm just saying, no judgment, just saying, that's not the healthiest thing you could do. And then, so I said diabetes, obesity. That means being morbidly obese or mortally obese, meaning deathly over your overweight, weight, and stuff, 200 or 300 pounds over what you need to be and stuff. That's a problem and everything. And then there's chronic stress. I'm stressed out. I gotta give me a drink. I'm stressing. I'm stressing. Does anybody understand I'm stressing? Okay, you're stressing. You sound like you stressed, and stuff like that. But is that your final excuse, and stuff like that? After a while, you gotta remember you're stressing, but you got the rest of your body, everybody else saying, I don't want it. I you know, okay. But what I'm trying to say is we all stress. How are you coping with it? Do you always run to a crutch, a cigarette, some weed and drink, pills and drink, and stuff, meth, crack, whatever and stuff? Is that the excuse? Because it does more things than just helps numb you at the time. Thank you, Miss Sandra said, preach, Charlene. Okay, I sure will. Yes, ma'am. Amen. And stuff. So then symptoms of heart disease, chest pain or pressure, feeling like somebody's sitting on your chest. You can't even pull that breath in because you just I'm having a heart attack or something, or it could be a heart attack. Shortness of breath. I can't even pull the air in, and stuff. And it's not asthma, and everything and stuff. Welcome on in, Miss Brittany. She said, hey, we watching from Fairfield with the fam tonight. All right, baby. Welcome on in. And then so I said the shortness of breath, and then fatigue. That's tireder than tired. Tireder. I don't know if that's a word, but y'all know what I mean. Tireder than tired. Meaning it's extra tired. Like everybody's tired, after a full day of work and everything and stuff. But this is that extra tired, and you never get over it. That's the tired that you got to watch out for. Your body snitching. Okay. And then arm, jaw, or back pain. This is heart disease, you guys. Don't sleep on it. It's your heart. You only get one, and stuff. I think they did the heart transplant. I don't even know how that worked out and stuff, but I'm just saying, keep your heart in check, and stuff. Do you and stuff. But moving on. Treatments for heart disease. That will be medication, lifestyle changes, exercise, a new kind of diet, starting over, and stuff, giving your body a reset. Some people go vegan and stay away from the meat. Some people go and just do carnivore, but whatever it might be and stuff, changing that lifestyle, getting that exercise regimen up, being productive, period, and stuff, will help you and prolong your life. It's just as simple as that. Also, there's surgeries you can have, and stuff to fix things, apply a stent in the heart, to clean up that coronary artery disease. Okay. But anyway, coronary artery disease, or CAD. But anyway, also how faith and healthcare overlap is stress reduction through prayer and community. Giving back to the community, but also prayer and prayer circles and prayer lines and different things like that. Also, lifestyle discipline and support, being able to get out there with somebody else and take those brisk walks every single day. You guys meet up and you walking, 4 blocks down, you walking the track, at the nearest park or something like that and stuff, like, to help your heart, to help their heart. Another one is, say you were diagnosed with cancer. The definition of cancer: a group of diseases where abnormal cells grow uncontrollably. Well, that's not all to cancer, as we know that, I'm going through that right now and stuff with my mother and everything and stuff. but it's a whole bunch of rogue cells. By themselves, they ain't nothing but a hot mess and stuff. They get together and link up and find a family, which is other little cancer cells, and they start growing uncontrollably until they group up and get together and stuff and mesh together, and they party and they have the party. Everybody singing, dancing to the music, and they turn into a tumor. And that tumor is what we don't want. They didn't group together. Now they looking to find another spot to trash. So that's how they move around and stuff. And then they find another little spot and they trash that spot. And they keep on trashing spots until, guess what? Either you get some treatment for it, if you can find it and snitch on it in time, or they kill you. Their number one goal is to kill the host. Guess who the host is? You and me. Okay. So I'm going to leave that alone. And stuff. So causes and risk of getting cancer. Genetics. It's in the family. So the doctors are nosy. If you tell them everything, then they know what to look for. And just recently, you know, me and my son were getting together, checking out some things and stuff. And we found out this thing about cancer in African Americans, because that's what we're so-called, I guess, supposed to be. That's the black thing is called African American and stuff. So the whole gist of that is it's a lot of stuff that they can't find on black people or African Americans because we're African American. Our bodies are made different. Our DNA is different. And the stuff that they have to cure people of certain diseases, the reason why it's so prevalent or it's hard to find is because the studies they did to find the cures for cancer, this chemotherapy, this radiation and everything, it was done on somebody of another ethnicity. And I'll leave it at that. I'm not going to get controversial. It's just another ethnicity that wasn't black and everything. So then when the treatment modalities don't work, or they take a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more, it's because of our actual ethnicity and our DNA and our genetics and everything. We carry certain things that other people don't carry in other ethnicities. And so therefore it makes it harder or sometimes easier to find or harder to find things and everything, especially in cancer. So see how I gave you all of that and everything. So I'm telling you, I'll be on it. I'm telling you and stuff. So what I was telling you about cancer, you know, the risk or genetics, smoking, environmental toxins like lead paint. You know, a lot of the older houses have lead paint in them. So we got to watch out for that. The older apartment buildings, they're while nice and nostalgic and stuff, they got that lead paint. So a lot of people had to get their houses, you know, done up. Another thing, black mold. Why you think they fear it so much? Have you ever watched one of those HGTVs, them home TVs, things and stuff like that? When you got mold, they go crazy and stuff because that's one of the number one cancer givers, you know, and everything and stuff. So that would be your environment. That's where you living at, and it's in the paint and your windowsill. You know, come on, okay. But anyway, poor diets, and not poor because you're not eating at all or you don't get enough to eat. It's because everything that you put in your mouth is not the best thing you should have. Processed meats and processed foods and stuff. There's so many out there, you know, giving the kids Happy Meals or Lunchables and stuff like that. Have you ever really seen how they're processed? Why they stay so long and they don't mold and stuff, you know, or they don't go bad that quick and everything and stuff? The Capri Sun, oh, that's juice. That's 100%. Did you see that it's 100%? Did you look at the ingredients? When it's supposed to be apple juice or something, why does it have all these other ingredients in there? Polysorbic 80 and citrus acid and all of that stuff. What is that? What, if you get a bag of rice and you look at it and the ingredients have about 15 different ingredients in it, and it's supposed to just be rice in a little bag, that you got to boil and clean and all of that stuff. What's all the other stuff? Find out what that is, and then y'all can tell me, and then I'll have you on and you can explain to me all of that stuff and how healthy it is and stuff, and why we hadn't had cancer sooner, because that's what's happening to us. Okay. So then it's also radiation. Guess what give us radiation? Bam! Yep, now I got some radiation right here. Yeah. Okay. But I'm just saying. Guess what else got radiation? Bam! My computer I'm looking into, talking to you. Thank you, radiation. Yeah. It's radiation in everything we do. Every light, every little boom, boom, boom. Yes, nice to have a little boom, boom room with the little lights. Look at them all behind me, radiating me. Not, because I got a thing called shungite. So y'all look that up and stuff. It's called shungite. I'm gonna put it in the comments after the live and everything and stuff. But saying all of that to say that you see how crazy it is, the things that happen to us, all behind everyday things that we don't even think is wrong with us. iPhone 17, 18, 19, 20, 25, 35, and all of that stuff. And they get better and better, at giving you cancer. All right. And stuff. So treatment, surgery, chemotherapy. This is for cancer. These are the treatment modalities. They got surgery. They got chemotherapy, they got radiation, and they got immunotherapy. And then sometimes they just got survivor therapy. And that might be chemo for the rest of your life until you go to sleep and take your last bow out of this world and everything. So then how faith overlaps with even dealing with cancer, with the healthcare. Emotional strength during treatment, keeping you pumped up and everything. I know I've witnessed it firsthand from my own mother and everything, who's going through, has went through cancer and chemo and surgery and all of this stuff, and a little bit more things to go, and everything. But what's been keeping her is she trusts God. What if she didn't? She might not even made it past the chemotherapy cycles. She hit 7. Okay. Saying all of that to say that the treatment is surgery, chemotherapy, radiation, and immunotherapy. How faith and healthcare overlap is the emotional strength during treatment. You getting the medicine, but you still trust God to help and know that the medicine will help. Also, hope during a long recovery, recovering from all the mess that you've been through and everything, and having hope for a better tomorrow. Each day you wake up is a new miracle, a fresh start on getting better and healing and knowing God got you. And it's not just a catchy phrase like your body's a snitch and everything. Also support for patients and family, spiritually, and also support groups. Don't sleep on them. Therapy and all of that stuff. So I was going to do a whole bunch of other ones, but for time's sake, I'm just going to kind of run through a couple of them for you guys and stuff. And that will be another illness that's chronic, that's killing people and everything that everybody sleeps on, is that type 2 diabetes. You pre-diabetic, I'm pre-diabetic, she pre-diabetic. Oh, my cousin pre-diabetic. That one pre-diabetic. Oh, she look pre-diabetic. Yeah. And stuff until it converts. All it's saying is you already knocked on the door and crossed the threshold and stuff. We waiting for you to just go ahead and be ready for insulin and all the other stuff that it come with, and stuff. Sometimes, if you change your lifestyle and everything, you can kind of grow out of it and stuff. If you don't, you'll constantly be pre-diabetic and then not pre-diabetic and then not, pre-diabetic and then not. When you gonna learn? I had to learn too. But if I want that extra cake, I'm gonna do what I gotta do. Was it worth it? Make sure it's worth it if you're gonna do it, and stuff. That's all I'm saying. Make sure it's worth it and everything. You got one life, YOLO. You only live once. Okay. So anyway, diabetes, a chronic condition where the body cannot properly control the blood sugars, meaning your insulin supplies that come from your pancreas, that hormone called insulin, is not efficient enough to take care of to keep sugar in check and everything. And it's probably because you're eating it in excess. And you don't even know sometimes. It's not always a Snicker or some cake or some ice cream. It's sometimes the sugar and starch, like white bread and different things like that. So it's a whole nother animal to even deal with that and stuff. But I'm saying everything got sugar in it. A real apple has sugar in it. A real orange has sugar in it, and everything and stuff. It's what sugars are you going to put in your body? Potato chips, they all got sugar or salt or both in them, and stuff. So that's where that comes in at. But for diabetes, the risk are obesity, being overweight, poor diet, meaning not that you're not eating, you just not eating the right things and stuff. And then inactivity, not exercising at all, nothing, just the remote. Changing that channel. You ain't gonna even get up to the TV and push the button and stuff. I do it from here. Or your biggest walk is to the bathroom and back to your chair or wherever you were sitting and stuff. Yeah. Really. And stuff. So rest is one thing. Resting in peace and never getting up at all and stuff is a whole nother animal. Because if you don't move it, you lose it. And everything. So then going into in family history, if your family had diabetes, the doctor's not being nosy. He don't know auntie so and so or uncle Jack or whatever and stuff like that. He don't know them, and stuff. So you got to tell him Uncle Jack had diabetes and stuff. That's my mama's brother, and stuff, or that's my daddy's brother, or whatever it might be and stuff like that. Symptoms: excessive thirst. If you ever want to come across diabetes and stuff, excessive thirst, excessive urination. I gotta pee. Everywhere I go, I know where all the bathrooms at in every Walmart, every Burlington, everything, because I gotta pee all the time and stuff. As soon as I drink something, even a little bit, I gotta go and stuff. That's excessive thirst, excessive urination, excessive eating way more than you were supposed to eat. Till you almost sick, you didn't eat, until you can't eat. You gonna roll over in a ball and fall out and die. You just ate so much. Blurry vision. Don't sleep on it. It ain't because of the makeup all the time. Get them eyes checked. And my dad on here and stuff, he know and stuff. You got to get them eyes checked. Tell on them, or you might not be able to see. Okay. And then treatments is medication like insulin or pills and stuff. They'll put you on first and stuff. Diet and exercise. This is treatment of diabetes. Diet and exercise. Blood sugar monitoring. Boop. And then you get the little blood and put it on a little thing and then boop boop. Your stuff high. Your stuff high. That's where that come from and stuff. And then faith and healthcare, the way they overlap, and even diabetes, accountability and community support. There's support groups for you to help you to learn how to eat better than you were and stuff. It take time. It took time to get the diabetes and go from pre-diabetes to type 2 diabetes. It take time to come off of it and lose the weight or whatever it might have been that pushed you over the edge into being diabetic and everything. And then lifestyle discipline, knowing that, yep, I can't have 2 slices of cake. 1 slice once a day, or something like that, or once a week, is better than diabetes forever and ever and ever and ever, and all the mess that goes with that. So it's another one that I want to go over and stuff, and that's mental illness, and then I'm gonna stop with that, and then just go into my conclusions and stuff. So one is mental illness. This would include depression, anxiety, or suicidal risks. And the definition of mental illness is conditions affecting the mood, thinking, and behavior. Some of the causes of your difficulty with your mood, thinking, and behavior would be a trauma. You saw something that was traumatic. You did something that was traumatic, or something was did to you traumatic, that traumatized you. Also, chronic stress. People like that are nurses, there's an awful lot that is weighing on you. I used to say this in my own little way, even when I would come home from work and stuff like that, that when I'm right, I'm wrong. When I'm wrong, I'm wronger. And when I ain't even there, I did it wrong still. And stuff like I'm blamed for everything and stuff. And it was like, that's a cold-blooded pressure. Charlene, if I got paid what you got paid, I'll work 18,000 hours a day. And I said, you'll be dead that day after 2 hours and stuff. It's so much pressure. So all the glory and all of that of, you got you a good job. You a nurse and stuff, girl. I know you get paid $150 an hour. Yeah, I have been paid $150 an hour now that you ask. But what did I have to do? I was responsible for the whole wide world, Craig, for my $150 an hour, and stuff. It wasn't no joke or a game or something like that. I was dying. Oh my God. So I'm saying all of this to say mental health, I could have lost my mind. Okay. I'm just saying, we try to be transparent. I try to be as transparent as possible so that you're not getting on here, getting a waste of your time, getting on here on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. I don't waste my time getting on here at 7 p.m. every Tuesday that I can, and stuff, and all of this stuff, looking up this and looking up that and making sure I'm saying the right words and saying proper words and stuff to you and everything. I'm not doing this for nothing. I'm saying that I've been through some things. I thank God of my understanding that I'm still standing. Wow. Y'all, it wasn't easy. It's not easy right now being me. And it never was all the other years. 21 consecutive years and counting. I'm just saying. I didn't say I'm the only one. I'm saying this is my story. This is my podcast, and stuff. This is my transparency to you and stuff. I can't speak for other people, but I know that if somebody said I did 3 decades in the unified school district doing this, that, the other and stuff, and it was hard. These kids, they changed up, and they did this, then I can relate. Not because I've been in the unified school district, but because I can relate because of all the pressures that are put on me as a human being in my neck of the woods. So I could just imagine. So I never leave to chance nobody when I'm talking to them and they're explaining to me what they then went through. Different nurses, that's been labor and delivery. You just delivering babies. You just got heck of babies and stuff like that. You ain't doing nothing. Try my job. No, you can't do that. Because what if the baby comes out and it's not alive? And stuff. That's one What if there's trauma to the baby or trauma to the mother and the mother passes away right after giving birth? What are you supposed to do? Yeah, that's some ununderstanding type things, but it could happen, and stuff. So at the end of the day, you can't do tit for tat or your job ain't nothing and stuff. And stuff. They pay y'all all that money and stuff. Y'all don't even be doing nothing. Yeah, that's what you say. You don't know what we be doing on the back end and everything. Oh, Auntie Josie, she said, with just a minute, I'm put it up on the. I like to thank you for all the good information that you are giving us. It is a blessing that you are helping each of us with your knowledge. Thank you. Thank you, Auntie Josie. And it is a blessing to be able to learn how to actually teach and talk to you. Let's talk about it, and everything. But I thank you for coming on week after week faithfully, all of you guys that has come on and stuff. It doesn't matter if it's one time, two times, five times, every time, and stuff. I thank each and every one of you for taking the time out your day. This is humbling for me and stuff, but I know that I'm doing the right thing because I'm depending on the God of my understanding, if that makes sense. So tonight's topic was healthcare and Christianity and a holistic approach, meaning that medical talk and Christianity, they actually go hand in hand, and actually they don't really work well by themselves. They do good alone, in their own right, but they work so much better and they heal faster and easier and make things a lot more less daunting and stressful when you work them all together. You just don't know countless times that I didn't been pulled in to a prayer circle inside, and I will go in there and pray with the family and everything and stuff and just sit there, and everything. And those people to this day, they still remember me, they still know me, and they still have utmost respect for me. Not because I'm trying to, in this one and that one and stuff like that, but because I know God. So in my situation, God done pulled me out of a lot of stuff and let me catch things that could have took somebody's life if I didn't catch it, if I didn't tell on it and stuff. I'm telling you, wow, it's no joke. So when I do this is me relaxing and thinking out what I want to do and what I want to present to you and stuff like that, and then following through with it and everything. So thank you guys for coming on. I am humbled by just you coming on week after week and just listening to me, and hearing me out, and stuff. Because at the end of the day, yes, I'll smile and I'll be laughing or whatever and stuff. But at the end of the day, is this dead serious? It is. It is. It's okay though, but it's dead serious. All right. So I was talking about mental health. So I said some of the causes of mental health, is the trauma, chronic stress, genetics. It's in your genes. Also, to be schizophrenic or to be bipolar, depressed and stuff. Substance use. That's another key thing. And substance is alcohol, it's marijuana, it's prescription opioids, prescription drugs, and it's also cigarettes, tobacco, nicotine, whatever you want to call it, vaping and everything. And then there's also social isolation. So the symptoms that somebody is probably checked out or having some problems or could be suicidal or something is persistent sadness. They just can't get over that hump of being sad. It's almost to a point of being angry and stuff. Also, hopelessness. It ain't gonna get better. It's gonna get better and stuff. Pray, ask God. God got you. If God ain't got me, he might got you, but he ain't got me. I don't know. Yeah. and stuff, anxiety or panic. Oh my God, this happened now, this happened. I know, I just feel like dying. Or thoughts of self harm. I should just kill myself. I'm tired of it. I should just kill myself. That's why they ask you those questions when you go to the doctor. Have you ever thought of harming yourself? Have you lost interest in things that normally would bring you some type of joy and all of that stuff? Why do you think they're asking? Because somebody wasn't telling the truth and they end up killing themselves and they succeeded. They successfully killed themselves. So now they made it a thing, just like taking your temperature, taking your blood pressure and stuff. You got to fill out that little paper and stuff to act. Are you good, or is you good, or that's where that comes from and everything. So my last two, I'm gonna skip over those and stuff so I can get to the end and everything, because I see it's an hour and 10 minutes in. I won't keep you past 20 and stuff, but pretty much it was substance abuse and everything. And these are things that we're dying from, that we're living out and stuff, and not making it from and stuff. And that's substance use disorder. And that would be, I told you, all those different things. So I wanted to give you a couple, because it was healthcare and Christianity, a holistic approach. I wanted to get right to my little myth and facts, because they're really good. Look what they come up with. This is a untruth, but I'm gonna say it. Faith means you don't need no doctors. If you got faith, you don't need no doctor. The fact is, Christianity supports caring for the sick. Medicine is a tool that can work with faith. That means taking that bipolar medicine, that schizophrenia medicine, or whatever it might be and stuff, to deal with what you're going through and stuff. You depressed, you sad all the time, you want to die, kind of, or a little bit, and stuff like that. You might need that antidepressant medicine, and stuff, even if it's just for a little while. Nobody said you had to stay on it forever and stuff. But the whole point is saying, if you really believed in God, you wouldn't even need no medicine and stuff. Ain't God your healer? That's just mean. Don't let nobody taunt you like that. Because I bet you that if they're saying that and stuff, I bet you God ain't their only healer. So don't let them talk you out of that, and then you kill yourself and succeed at killing yourself. So come on. So another myth. Mental illness is for people that don't got no faith in God. If you ain't got no faith in God, that's why you got a mental illness. That's why you schizophrenic. That's why you got bipolar. That's why you depressed. You want to kill yourself, because you should have faith and stuff, and then everything will be wonderful, right? Don't let nobody talk you out of that. They're going to talk you out of your life. Get rid of whoever that is that said that to you. Don't be around them and everything. So the answer: mental illness is a condition, not a spiritual failure. You don't fail because you can't effectively cope. You got to find ways to fix it. And if that means a little bit of medicine, a little bit of therapy, and a little bit of Jesus, then that's what it's got to be. Okay. How about this one? Because we're talking about medicine, healthcare, and faith, Christianity and everything and stuff. So prayer alone cures all the diseases. All you got to do is pray and it'll go away and you'll be cured of it. Okay. Don't listen to that person either. until they in trouble, and they ain't gonna just pray. They gonna tell the doctor too. They gonna be at that emergency room and stuff. Don't listen to them. You be like, you do all the praying, and let's see if it cure you and stuff of what you got. Let me see how it worked for you. Oh, it didn't work. Oh, you ain't praying the right prayer. You being judgmental, huh? Okay. Oh, all right. And stuff. So prayer alone cures diseases. It could, virtually, but who got that much faith, and stuff, you good, but you still made of flesh, at the end of the day. So that means that you're already a sinner by default. But anyway, going back to prayer can support healing, but medical treatment is often necessary. God created the scientists that make the medicine to fix you. So prayer could be a prayer alone and stuff like that, but there's sometimes you just need a little bit of medicine to help get you over the hump. God created the person that made your medicine, so that means God was in the mix. Let's bargain a little bit, and stuff. Last but not least, science and Christianity oppose each other. Science meaning healthcare, and Christianity, they're the opposite. They don't like each other. Many healthcare professionals are people of faith. Both seek healing and truth. We both seek healing and truth. The professional, okay, I'm the nurse, and the actual, Christian, and stuff. We both seek it. And myself, I don't want a doctor that don't believe in God working on me. Especially if they believe in themselves, they might get struck down by lightning. Okay, I don't know. But anyway, I'm just saying, I'd rather have me a little faith-based doctor, somebody that love some type of Lord of their understanding, and stuff like that. I'd rather that one work on me than a actual one that just hate Jesus, God, and anything that have to do with it. The Bible, the Quran, the whatever they got and stuff. I'm a roll with the people that have faith. Yep. That me. And so a Christian ethics often emphasize this: human dignity, compassion, justice, and care for the poor and vulnerable. These values influence modern healthcare discussions. My take-home message is healthcare and Christianity are not enemies. They are partners. So my whole thing was looking at it from that approach. So I tried to give you details in that and stuff. So the long story short of it is healthcare and Christianity are not enemies. They are partners. Medicine treats the body and the brain. Faith supports the heart, the spirit, and meaning. Holistic care improves outcomes and quality of life. People heal best when they are seen, heard, supported, and treated. They heal best when they are seen, heard, supported, and treated. In today's world, we don't choose between faith or medicine. We need both. In conclusion, true healing happens when science, compassion, and faith work together. In a complex and stressful modern world, integrating healthcare and Christianity allows individuals, families, and communities to thrive and not just survive. Care for the body, support the mind, nourish the spirit. I end and rest my case, you guys. I hope you guys got some of this. If not, please watch the replay. You can watch it maybe about 3 to 5 minutes after I go off live and everything. And I'm streaming live today from Facebook Live under Charlene Nurse Allen. It's made public so anybody can join. And also I'm streaming simultaneously with YouTube under Medical Talk in Layman's Terms with Nurse Charlene. And this is what I'm doing, you guys. I have more to come. I have more people that I'm already lining up for guests speaking and introducing you to new things and products and stuff like that and healthy things to help you going along and stuff. I also implemented and said that I will have some Tuesdays that I will, give you, of course, ahead of time and stuff, where I'll be doing Testimonial Tuesday. And that's where somebody lived with a life-threatening illness and everything. And then they be able to tell their truth in their words, and everything. I'm going to have people coming on as far as diet and nutrition, because it looks like the only way to hit our real true illnesses, because I can't and you can't either name one person that hasn't had some type of illness, that hasn't dealt with thyroid, diabetes, high blood pressure, low blood pressure, muscle strain, sleeping disorders, depression, and mental health disorders, and all these different things that we call our body, eye issues, eating issues, obesity versus anorexia, and different things like that. It's all these different things and stuff. We got problems, with our ears. We got problems with, like I said, our eyes. We got problems with our gastrointestinal system, our it's genital urinary system. So the GI system, the GU system, our kidney problems, kidney failures. I did some topics already, but I'm saying these are the things that I'm going to go for, and stuff. When I see a lot of this, dealing with COVID, dealing with lung problems, I'm going to have a guest on that, is dealing with living with one lung, Auntie Darlene and stuff. But all these people, that I'm going to line up and get on and stuff. It's just a matter of me networking and stuff. Other nurses that are, professional in their own rights in this area and that area, people dealing with sickle cell disease, people dealing with autoimmune disorders and stuff, people dealing with epilepsy and seizures and stuff like that. I'm going to have all these different things and stuff, and I'm going to introduce you to a whole world of medical, but in layman's terms, meaning we're going to get to the bottom of all this mess that we call our bodies, one little issue at a time. And that's why I try to come on each week that I can, and stuff. I'll warn you ahead of time if I can and stuff, but it's all behind, let's find out what's wrong with us, because your body is a snitch, believe it. Remember, that's going to be the anthem into our new 2026 and stuff. Your body is a snitch, believe it. You see how catchy that is? Your body is snitching on you because it can see inside of you before you could see inside of you, and stuff. It could see that kidney acting up. It could see that gallbladder acting up. It could see those cavities and everything. And why we need our teeth. And why we don't have that many, you get about 32, set of 32, 42 teeth. I don't know. But anyway, that, and why we need them, and that they actually chew our food. And when they don't properly chew our food, our bodies have to work harder. That's where the constipation comes in at, because you didn't ate down and scarf down that food and it go down whole, and it's hard for the body to break it down and process it. And so then that's going and traveling through your intestines and stuff, and then it gets stuck and you get a bowel obstruction because it's a whole hot dog still sitting in there because it didn't made it through and it couldn't break it down fast enough, and so it then got stuck inside your intestines and stuff, and now you can't poop properly, or you can't pee properly and stuff. We need our kidneys. They clean things and stuff like that. So can you see where all this is coming from? It's coming from straight facts. These are facts. This is what's going on with us. But guess who learning? Every time I'm getting something prepared for you, guess what? I learned something new. Because you never stop learning. And the person that never wants to, that feels like they know everything and that nobody can teach them anything, that's the fool. The smartest person you'll ever meet is the person that will constantly learn, and it doesn't matter who they learn from. It could be somebody in a lower discipline, but they just taught them something because they are a professional in their own right and stuff. So watch out. Get ready. This New Year's, it's going to be cold. I started in March of this year with this and stuff, but I'm coming back in full force, ready for this new year and everything and stuff. And I'm pulling out all the stops. We're going to have the merchandise. We're going to have everything. We're going to have the anthem. Your body is a snitch, believe it. We're going to have that anthem going and stuff. Your body is always telling on you from the time you're born, actually in utero, inside the stomach. That's why they do certain tests to you and everything, and test the amniotic fluid inside of a woman and everything. This stuff, it got to be told, because it might not be you that's dealing with this, but it's somebody else that can use this same information. Come on, y'all. Help me. Help me, help you, help yourself and your loved ones. All right. I did go over a little bit, and that was because I needed to just give you that and stuff, so you know why I'm coming on and stuff. I'm not playing. It's all back to the basics, and I'm about my Father's business. My physical father and my spiritual father. All right. Y'all take care. Be healthy, and remember, your body is telling you something. Don't ignore it. The one moment you ignore it, you're at stage 4. Okay? Take care. This is Nurse Charlene signing off. Y'all take care.